Sopranos Season 3. Just when I thought I was out, it pulled me back in. Folks, if you've been on this channel for a while, I have endorsed... What? Folks, if you've been on this channel for a while, I have, of course, I've done Season 1 and 2 of the Sopranos reviews. Typically, I would do Season 1, or Sopranos, Crown, Sopranos, Crown. I'm going to stop doing that just for a bit. I will probably get back to the Crown and start doing reviews of those again. But the Sopranos season, the Many Saints of Newark is just coming up soon, and I really need to fast track this. I've been on sort of a roll with it recently, so I'm just going to keep going with it. You might see the reviews turned out pretty quickly. Folks, Tony just gets better each season. He is, of course, one of the greatest television characters of all time. This isn't me, just me saying this. This is a pretty common thought, I think. And the more unique scenarios that the show puts him in, the more you flesh him out. You can see how he would react to any given situation. And they always come up with something that feels like would make him his character and just make him more interesting. For example, in one season, you get him going from really thinking Jackie Jr. would be a great fit for Meadow to just completely hating the guy, completely hating the character, and yet feeling sorrowful for him. He really wants to try and save this guy from his inevitable fate. The Paulie Christopher dynamic is great as well. You got a ton of really great dynamics between already established characters this season. Who knew that with these characters you've already known for 3 seasons, they could come up with such new, interesting ways to intertwine their stories. I feel like the show keeps getting darker and darker, and I think this season is definitely the darkest thus far. You have multiple, particularly innocent people getting horrible crimes happening to them. You have Dr. Melfi getting raped. You have that stripper that Ralph, was involved with. She, spoilers, beaten to death. And a lot more. Jackie Jr., of course, I don't know if he's innocent per se, but this poor kid just killed brutally. I mean, there's so much violence here, and it's just getting darker and darker. Folks, this is a problem with the overarching structure of the show. Characters will often just get shafted just because they need to make room for other characters. So in Season 2, I noticed that Junior wasn't as prevalent because they didn't think about focusing on him that season. It wasn't a priority. Whereas in this season, you have people like Janice. I feel like Janice wasn't particularly focused on. What I'm trying to say is that the show, you can definitely notice that it sometimes struggles to balance all these characters. It feels like they introduced some new asshole in each season. In Season 1, you had Mikey, Richie in Season 2, and now Ralph. I'll say that Ralph is a great character. I definitely like what they do with him, but I do think that the show would work better if you had antagonists stretched out over the whole show, just to sort of build these guys up, make them more of a threat, and not just discard them after each season. I like Ralph a lot, but no one will ever top Richie. I gotta say that too. Richie's great. And then along those same lines, it feels like they're just going back to the same narrative tropes, because Tony seemingly gets a new love every season, and here it's Gloria, it dives more into his infidelity and whatnot, and it definitely strengthens him as a character. And I'm not saying I don't love the Gloria plot stuff, but I do think that it is a bit lazy to keep returning to that, either keep someone throughout and just build that relationship. You don't need to swap it every single season, for God's sake. Folks, some of the plot lines in the season are just spectacular, some of the best in any show ever. I just love it. It's so meaty. Folks, it could definitely be recency bias. I'm not going to deny that. And it's, of course, there's a bigger gap between Season 2 and 3, a pretty big gap between those two, between me watching those 2 seasons. But I think that this is my favorite season thus far. Great plots. That's really it. It's great plots. Diving more into the characters, which again are the best part of the show, as I said in Season 1. I don't know if I stick with that anymore, because these storylines are just absolutely excellent. They really enhance the show. Definitely going to have to be, I'm going to give Sopranos Season 3 an A, just because it is excellent in pretty much every regard. This is the pinnacle of television. It's one of my greatest seasons, my favorite seasons of television ever. I love it so much. Now I know why this show had all the hype. Wasn't feeling it Season 1, started to get it Season 2. By Season 3, completely understand. Alright, folks, as I said, the reviews are going to be coming out a lot quicker. Keep an eye out for Season 4, of which I'm already more than halfway done. I think I just finished Episode 8, so yeah, definitely binging that. Folks, I've been EPC Reviews. You've been amazing, and I will see you in the next season of The Sopranos. Come on.